Hi, this is Ivan from watchlamp.com, and in this short video I'm going to explain to you how to use Compass and Sass with your WordPress installation. So the way I do it actually is I start with an empty theme. This theme is called Olympus. It's the theme I made myself, and it's a completely empty theme. It has some files in it, some folders in it, and so on, but it's an empty theme. I will show this theme to you. So first of all, in the last video you actually saw Olympus theme, and it looked like this because it was very much styled at that moment. But if I go to my dashboard here, you will see this theme is activated. It's called Olympus, and this Olympus 2 is the actual theme I start my every project with. I can have two themes with the same name in my WordPress dashboard, so I rename this actual theme which I start my projects with to Olympus 2. So I'm going to activate it now and show you how the starting point of every one of my WordPress projects actually looks like. So I'm going to click activate here, and this theme is now active, and if I refresh this page you will get just this. So this is completely empty. You just have this little welcome message here just for me to know that the theme is working, and that's it. So if we inspect this theme, actually we will see what it's made of. So it's made of several files and folders. It's made of a CSS folder which holds my IE7 overrides, so IE7, IE8, IE9. I don't actually use this CSS folder for styling anything except for those overrides. Then I have an empty fonts folder, images folder, JS folder with AutoClear JS for clearing my forms, Flex Slider JS. I use Flex Slider in most of my projects, so I always have it in the theme. Main.js, I write my custom jQuery code here, and Modernizer JS. If you don't know what Modernizer is, just Google it. It's some great stuff there. So, and the one folder that actually concerns this tutorial is Sass folder. So in my Sass folder I have several partial files. One main.scss file which is called style.scss, and I have style CSS. Many CSSs there. So I also have config RB file. So these are the things we are going to be talking about now. So to use Compass and Sass together, you have to have a config RB file. Compass uses this file to compile your SCSS files. So I have some paths set up in this config RB file. I have my CSS directory, which is root. So I want my Sass files to be compiled to root folder, and to style CSS, of course. Also I have my Sass folder, which is actually Sass. This is this folder here, and I have my images directory, JavaScript directory, and so on, output style, and environment. So this is very basic config RB file. There's nothing special in here actually. So this is the way I work. I like to write my code in chunks, so I don't want to have every little bit of my CSS code written in just one file. It's very hard to organize that way, and it's very hard to find things and so on. So I have it in little chunks. These chunks actually are called partials in Sass, and if you don't know what partials are, you can Google it. But in short, they're just partial files which contain partial code. They contain small chunks of code for use in your site. So if we look at my Sass folder here, you will see that I have flexslider.scss. In these partial files you write normal CSS, Sass code, whatever you want. So I have this is actually the default flex slider CSS. I have my fonts CSS. As you can see, most of these files are empty right now because this is an empty theme. I didn't write anything in it yet. So I have globals, I have my header.scss for styling my header, homepage for styling my homepage, media queries of course for media queries, normalize CSS. So in this file I have my normalize, this is my reset CSS file, and I have my sidebar CSS. Of course, as I work on the project more and more, I will probably add more and more of those files here as the need arises, as you would say. So I have that, and I also have style.scss. So this file is I wouldn't say the most important, but it's very important. Okay, in this file I have first of all this default WordPress code. So you have to have this if you want your theme to work. So I have my theme name is Olympus 2, description, blank WordPress theme, version, author, URL, tags, and so on. And if I go to my dashboard here, I will see, if I click on theme details, I will see all those all that information right here. Okay, so you have to have that. After that, I call compass. I just write import compass, and this will import default compass mixins. So I can use, I don't know, include border radius 5 pixels, and I will have border radius with value of 5 pixels and written for all the browsers. So this is the power of compass. Check compass out if you're not using it yet. Of course, I have my normalize here. The important thing to note here is that you have to write these imports in some order. So you because normalize is the first file, and sometimes you want to override its styles, you would write it first. So it would be import normalize, then I have flex slider, my fonts, and then I have my globals and my header and so on. So import globals imports all the code in globals.scss right here. So it would import all the code here. This is not a very good example because the globals SCSS is actually empty right now. So let's say flex slider. So if I write import flex slider, it would be like if I go to here, copied all of this and paste it here. So it's not very hard to understand. This is what it does. So these are the partial files. You can recognize partial files because they have underscore in front of their names. Also, now I have globals, header, home, sidebar, footer, and of course at the bottom you always write media queries at the bottom. I have imported my media queries file. Okay, so this is my style.scss. When I hit save here or on any of these partial files, it will output a CSS, which means a normal CSS file, which browsers can read, which WordPress can read, and so on. It will output it in my root directory, which I defined here, and then it will output it as with the same name as is this file. So if it's style.scss, it will output style.css. So this is this file here. Okay, so whenever I hit save, I end up with this. So as you can see, there are a lot of lines in this file actually because of the normalized CSS, and I end up with just one file. Why is this good? This is good because whenever you call a CSS file to your web page, it needs to do an HTTP request, which slows your site down just a bit. So if you have a lot of those files, it will continue. It will start to slow your site down. So if you're not using Sass, if you're not using partials, and you wanna write this little bit chunks of code for every part of your site, you would either have to import CSS files at the top of your main CSS, or you would have to go to your header PHP and link those CSSs here. Whichever way you do it, there will be some additional HTTP requests. But by doing this, I will have only one file at the end, and I will have as many files as I want to write my chunks of code. But I will only end up with one file. As you can see, this file isn't actually that small right now, and I didn't even start styling yet anything. So at the end of my project, when everything's done, when I want to put this site live, this actually in development, this doesn't matter to me, because it's on my local server and I don't care about how big this file actually is. When Compass outputs this file, when I get this output, I like it this way because it tells me that, for example, this piece of code here is on line 189 in Sass normalized.scss. So I can refer to this file and find this piece of code whenever I want. So after I'm done with all that, I would just go to config.rb. Let's say I want to put this site live now, and I will just go and say compressed. Save it. To see this work, I have to restart Compass, so I will just go like this, and Compass Watch Olympus 2. Okay. Now if I go to my style.scss and save it, and go to my style.css, I will get this. So actually I have only one line of code. Technically I have just one line of code for my whole CSS. If I have to work on this site later, I have to fix something, I have to add something, and so on, I would just go like this, say expanded, restart my Sass, Compass, save this file again, and I will get, oops, this didn't work, why not? Okay, now it worked. So I will get this file again, and this is actually what I would call a development file. This compressed version I will call, I don't know, production file or live file and so on. So this is the way I use Compass and Sass with WordPress. If you have some better ideas, I always want to hear them. I'm an automation freak, so please let me know in the comments, either on my site or on YouTube or on Facebook, wherever you saw this video. I'm not saying this way is the best, but I really like the power of Compass and Sass and partial files to get just one file at the end of my project. So I don't have to have many HTTP requests for CSS files, and also I can write my code in chunks. So this is it for this short tutorial. Hope you liked this video. If you did, please like it on YouTube, and I will see you next time. Bye.